Broncos Country folks, I need to tell you about something that's going to give you chills. There's a guy on the Broncos roster that everyone practically forgot about, but Coach Sean Payton just dropped a bombshell about him that's going to change everything you think about the future of our offense. And look, when I say this guy's name, you're going to think, seriously? That player still exists? But before I spill the beans, let me give you some context that'll make you understand why this news could be the turning point we've been waiting. For Denver Broncos family, Perry is the name you need to engrave in your memory. This wide receiver has been practically a ghost lately, but Sean Payton just revealed details showing that the organization's patience with this athlete might be about to pay incredible dividends. Let's go back in time a bit so you can understand the magnitude of what I'm talking about here. Perry came to the Broncos straight from the New Orleans Saints, the team where Sean Payton coached for years and knows every detail about the players who went through there. And, man, this Perry isn't just anybody. When he was with the Saints in 2023, the guy was an absolute monster on the field. Just imagine, a sixth-round draft pick who managed to catch 12 passes for an incredible 246 yards with 4 touchdowns, and an insane average of over 20 yards per reception. That's no joke, Broncos Country. A sixth-round guy putting up numbers that many starting wide receivers dream of reaching. What happened was that the Saints, in the middle of his second NFL season, simply cut Perry from the roster. And that's where our organization's genius comes in. With all the connections we have with New Orleans, especially through Sean Payton, we went there and brought this talent home. Everyone at the time thought, all right, now we're talking. Here comes the guy who's going to solve our offensive problems. But the reality was quite different, family. Perry became almost like an urban legend here in Denver. Everyone knew he existed, everyone knew his potential, but nobody could actually see him in action. And what an interesting comparison they made. Perry has been like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, or the Chupacabra. Everyone talks about him, everyone knows he's out there, but nobody can actually witness the creature in action. It sounds like a joke, but that's exactly how fans have felt about this wide receiver. The fans' impatience is totally understandable, folks. When you see a guy with the physique and speed that Perry has, along with proven NFL numbers, it's natural to want to see him flying across the field, making spectacular plays. But here's something I always tell you guys. In professional football, timing is everything. Sean Payton gave recent statements that completely changed my perspective on Perry, and I'm sure they'll change yours too. The coach revealed that Perry was having a fantastic spring in practice with impressive accelerated development until an injury interrupted all that progress. Listen carefully to what Sean Payton said. Perry is a developing player, has the long frame that every coach dreams of, and possesses strong, reliable hands, characteristics that are pure gold in modern football. And most importantly, Payton said he was encouraged by what he saw and that it's good to have Perry back healthy in practice. Now comes the part that might bother some of you, but shows the harsh reality. Perry isn't even on the Broncos' main roster right now. He's on the practice squad, which is basically the reserve team that practices with the main roster but doesn't play officially. But hold on, Broncos Country. Before you get discouraged, let me explain why this might not be as bad as it seems. Perry can easily be considered the sixth wide receiver on the team, especially when we compare him to other guys on the practice squad who have never shown anything concrete in the NFL. The difference is that Perry has already proven he can contribute on the field for an NFL team. He's already made decisive plays, already found the end zone, already shown he has what it takes to compete at the highest level. That counts for way more than you imagine. And there's more. Perry's presence on the roster may have given the organization the necessary confidence to make some moves in the market. When you have talent like that waiting for an opportunity, it becomes easier to make decisions about other players at the position. If you're true Broncos Country, subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss any news about our team. Just hit that red button down there and activate the notification bell. What impresses me about this whole situation is the philosophy the Broncos are adopting with young players. Instead of giving up at the first difficulty, the organization is betting on long-term development. And man, that's the recipe for building a sustainable winning team. Perry hasn't even turned 26 yet. In the football world, that means he's got a lot of fuel in the tank, many years ahead to develop and show all his potential. The patience the organization is having with him could be rewarded spectacularly. Sean Payton knows talent when he sees it. Family. This guy has coached and developed some of the best wide receivers in the NFL throughout his career. If he's saying Perry has potential and is worth waiting for, it's because there's really something special there waiting to explode. The injury that interrupted Perry's progress in the offseason was frustrating, no doubt. Imagine the situation. The guy was flying in practice, impressing everyone, gaining confidence and rhythm, and then, boom! An injury takes him out of action right at the crucial moment when he was fighting for a spot on the main roster. But you know what this shows about the Broncos organization? That they don't throw in the towel easily. Even with the bad timing of the injury, even with the pressure to form the final roster, they kept Perry in the system and continued investing in his development. This mentality of building confidence through skills demonstrated in practice is fundamental in professional football. It's no use having raw talent if you can't show consistency and reliability day after day in practice. Perry's physique is really impressive for the position. When we talk about a long wide receiver, we're talking about a guy who can use his wingspan to create separation from defenders, who can reach passes in areas other receivers couldn't, and who becomes a very difficult target to cover in the red zone. The strong, reliable hands that Sean Payton mentioned are perhaps even more important. In high-level football, the difference between an average wide receiver and an excellent one often lies in the reliability of their hands. When the quarterback releases the ball, he needs absolute certainty that reception is going to happen. Talk. To me, Broncos Country, what do you think about this long-term bet on A.T. Perry? Do you agree it's worth being patient with young talents, or do you think the organization should focus on more immediate solutions? The connection between Sean Payton and players who came from the New Orleans Saints isn't a coincidence. Payton spent years building relationships and developing game systems that make the most of each athlete's specific characteristics. He knows exactly how to use Perry when the right time comes, and that time might be coming faster than we imagine, family. With injuries that always happen during an NFL season, with the need for player rotation, and with the continuous development Perry is showing in practice, it wouldn't be surprising at all to see him promoted to the main roster soon. What excites me most is the mentality the Broncos organization is showing. Instead of seeking quick and superficial solutions, they're investing in building something solid and lasting. They're betting on players who might not shine immediately, but who have the potential to become fundamental pieces of the puzzle long-term. Perry represents exactly this type of intelligent investment. A player with proven talent, ideal physique for the position, still young enough to have a long career ahead, and who's being developed by one of the most respected coaches in the league when it comes to working with wide receivers. The comparison with other practice squad players is revealing. While some guys never had a real opportunity to show what they're capable of in the NFL, Perry has already proven he can compete and produce at the highest level. That makes all the difference when making decisions about who to promote and who to invest in. Broncos Country, can you imagine how exciting it would be to finally see Perry get his opportunity and explode on the field? All the numbers he put up with the Saints were with limited participation. Imagine what he could do with more snaps, more confidence from the coach, more integration into the offensive system. The development Sean Payton mentioned is no joke. In professional football, especially at the wide receiver position, there's a steep learning curve. It's not just running fast and catching the ball. It's understanding complex routes, reading defenses, creating chemistry with the quarterback, executing blocks when necessary, and much more. Perry is going through this complete development process, and having Sean Payton as coach on this journey is a huge advantage. Payton has a proven track record of transforming wide receivers with potential into league stars. The issue of injuries in football is always a reality we have to accept. They're part of the game, and often they're what create opportunities for players who were waiting for their chance. Perry had the bad luck of getting hurt at a crucial moment, but now that he's healthy, he might be one injury to another player away from his big opportunity. And when I talk about opportunity, I'm not just talking about a few snaps here and there. I'm talking about the chance to show all that potential that's been building behind the scenes, to finally transform all that investment into real production on the field. The patience the organization is showing with Perry also sends an important message to other young players on the roster. It shows that the Broncos believe in long-term development, that they won't give up on you at the first difficulty, and that they're willing to invest time and resources to extract maximum potential. From each athlete, this creates an environment of trust and development that's fundamental for the success of any sports organization. Players know they'll have the necessary support to grow and develop, even if it takes longer than initially expected. Broncos Country. What would you do if you were Sean Payton in this situation? Would you promote Perry to the main roster immediately, or continue with this gradual development strategy on the practice squad? A.T. Perry's future with the Broncos could very well define the success of our offensive strategy in the coming years. If he can finally show on the field all that potential he's been demonstrating in practice, we'll have found a valuable piece that can make the difference in decisive moments. So, Denver Broncos family, are you excited to finally see A.T. Perry in action? Do you think Sean Payton knows what he's doing betting on this long-term development? Comment below what you think about this situation. Hit that. Like if you enjoyed the content, share it with friends who are also Broncos Country, and see you in the next video. Go Broncos!